Hey everyone, hope you all are well. The first thing I'm doing today, as always, is priming the eye area, and to do that I'm using my trusty Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. I'm adding a few swipes of this with the applicator itself, and then I'm going in with this Wet n Wild brush just to buff and blend that product into the skin, anywhere that I'll be applying eyeshadow, and this just ensures that our shadows go on nice and smoothly, they blend nice and easily, and it makes sure that they last all day long as well. So I'm using the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette again today. I decided to do something different. Instead of using light and bright shades, I went with a bit darker colours just to show you that it is actually a really versatile palette. So the first shade I'm taking then is called Charmed, I'm Sure. And this is a really nice medium toned brown. I've picked this up on a Sedona Lace EB09 Universal Blending Brush. I've coated just a bit beyond the tips of the bristles now, and I'm starting to work the shadow into the crease using back and forward sweeping motions. I start on the outer portion of the crease and then gradually make my way to the inner corner, sweeping all the way across that crease. And once I've laid down pretty much the majority of the shadow, I then like to place the brush just on the top edge of that shadow, and I'm going to now start to diffuse the edges. So I'm using a mix of circular and windshield wiper motions to blend that shadow upwards. I want it to fade out to nothing the closer to the brow bone that we get. I always pull the shadow outwards towards the tail of the brow too, because I like an elongated appearance to the eyes. So I'm just flicking my brush upwards and outwards, blending that shadow out. So with the first layer, I've really just taken my time to lay down the shadow, get it where I want it, and then I've blended it out so I have a really nice, soft, smoky feel. But with one application, you're never going to get intensity and a soft blend. It's one or the other. So I've got that nice soft blend now, and I want the shadow to pack a bit more of a punch. So I'm literally just going back in with a bit more shadow on my brush. I'm reapplying in the same way as before, and I'm just building up that colour. And you can repeat this step in as many light layers as you see fit, just to get the level of intensity that you desire. Next, I'm going in with the shade White Peach on a Blank Canvas Cosmetics flat shader brush, and I'm using this just to pat some of that shadow underneath the arch of the brow, and then I'm fading it out towards the tail and tip of the brow. So this kind of a shade is great to use too. If you've blended up that brown too high, you can use this to pull it back down, or if that edge is still a little bit harsh, you can layer this shade over the top of it just to soften it. So I've just gone back in with that blending brush, giving everything a nice little blend just to fade those two together. And then the first lid shade I'm taking is Delectable. Now this is a warm purple and it has an almost burgundy undertone to it. It's a satin finish, so I picked this up on another Blank Canvas flat shader brush, and I've spritzed my brush with some of the It Cosmetics Your Skin But Better setting spray, and I'm tapping this down on the inner half of the lid. I definitely recommend the setting spray because I found with this shade on its own it was hard to apply in an even layer. It was a bit patchy and a bit difficult to diffuse. So the remaining part of the lid then, I'm taking the shade Talk Derby to Me. This is like a black shadow that has a nice purple sparkle running throughout it, and it's got a nice satin finish. Similar to the shade previously, I do find this applies and blends a bit better with the use of a setting spray. So I've just used that same brush to coat the outer portion of the lid. Once I've got the colour on there, I'm flipping the brush and dabbing down over and back between the two shades just to bind them together. So now that we have the lid shades on, you can see there's quite a difference between the lid colours and the crease colours. I'm happy with how the shadow is faded towards the brow bone, but I do need something in between now again, so there isn't so much of a contrast. So I'm reapplying that first shade, Charmed, I'm Sure, with the Sedona Lace EB09 Universal Blending Brush, and I'm placing this down on the edge of those lid shades, and I'm starting to blend upwards once again, going in with a bit of a heavier hand this time and really working that shadow into the crease. I want this look to be very dark and smoky. Just to show you, this palette is actually very versatile. You can create, nice soft daytime looks, but you can also create something nice and dramatic and smoky for the evening time too. So now once I've faded that shadow out to my desired effect, I'm moving on to the lower lash line. I'm taking my little bullet shaped brush now, and I'm using some more of that Charmed, I'm Sure shade. I'm using this brush to blend the shadow all the way down along the lower lash line, making my way from outer to inner corner. Then I'm taking this flat dense brush. This is from Sedona Lace, and I'm using a small bit more of that deeper purple shade that talked earlier to me. And once again, I've used this shadow wet. I'm smudging this down into the lashes, taking it about halfway across the lower lash line. And I've used the setting spray once again just to help it adhere and appear nice and opaque. So I wanted a little bit more depth now on that outer edge, so I'm taking this black eyeshadow from the Too Faced Chocolate Gold eyeshadow palette, and I'm using a Sedona Lace flat C-shaped brush just to pat this down on the outer edge of the eye, and then I'm fading it across the crease, keeping it nice and deep in the crease. Switching to an angled brush now, I'm patting that black eyeshadow once again all the way along the upper lash line, and this will just add a nice bit of depth to the lash line, and it'll help to conceal the band of lashes that I will be applying soon. But for the meantime, for the waterline, I'm taking this lovely purple pencil from Urban Decay. It's one of their 24/7 Glide On Eye pencils, and it's got a really nice shimmer to it. So I'm applying this inside the eye, just along the waterline, just to add a little bit of a pop to the area. And then I'm heading back to my palette. I'm taking a little mix of the shade White Peach and Nectar on a bullet brush from Wet n Wild, and I'm using this just to highlight around the tear duct of the eye. So just sweeping that in circular motions just around the tear duct, and it just adds a nice bit of brightness. So I've added lashes. These ones are from Eylure. They're the bauble lashes, and I'm using the L'Oreal Bambi Lash Mascara just to blend my own lashes into the false ones and to coat the bottom lashes as well. And then that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you found it helpful and easy to follow. And if you have any requests, please leave them down below, and I'll catch you all really soon.